Hey guys, it's Dark Siege. When I saw these commanders released and I watched a couple other people's videos, I was literally gonna make a 2 minute video where I show these guys and go gathering commanders and then end it, right? Because I thought it was gonna be funny. But then I looked at what they do and what I do mostly, and it's gather gems. And so these guys will really help you get more gems. All right, here's my plug. If you want to gather more gems and have the luck of the gathering god where you find those level 3 gems quicker, like and subscribe. Here is the first of the two that we're going to go over, and his name is Pepin. And honestly, when I hear a Pepin, I think of Scottie Pippen from the Bulls. So if that pops in your head too, cool. If it doesn't, now it will. Okay, let's look over his stuff real quick. Right? Cool. Don't care. This really is one of the things I care about, and it's the top skill. Gains 20% gathering speed, just like our other two, Sundock and Cleo, who does 20% all gathering. Awesome, right? It's good because I gather gems, and so I want that gathering speed. And if you are a person who gathers maybe just one or two types of materials, like I just want food and stone, cool, right? This will help you out. If you do gold, the other cat that we're going to look at does gold too. But for me, it's gathering gems. And then at the end here, the bottom one, he gives you an extra 10% resources. So for me, my top gatherer, when I do 30 gems, I get an extra 10 gems. And a part of that is because of 10 extra resources. So, and I'll show you at who I use and how I might switch up later if I get these. All right, that's this commander, right? You get 20% gathering and you get 10% extra resources. I do like that. And I'm going to say Casimir because it's just easier for me. So let's look at this cat. Again, I don't care about the first one. It's the gathering speed is 20% and extra gathering are gold. Cool. I don't really gather anything outside of gems, right? And I go to sleep and I do one of each resource and a flag or the building of a fort at night, and then I wake up and I gather gems. That's basically all I do. And so this 20% gathering speed, I like. And then at the end, he's just like Cleo, where you get extra resources. So I imagine when you're done with Cleo, you're going to get something sent to your box saying that you got a little something, something. All right, let me show you who I use to gather gems, because that's all I do. And this may make more sense to you, or at least you see who I use to gather gems. This is who I use for gathering. And the criteria that I use when I have my gathering is the first is I want a can-do attitude. I want somebody who day and night just wants to gather those little gems for me so I can get rich. I want a positive attitude. I don't want no lip. That's bullshit. Okay, seriously. This is what I look for. I look for gathering speed. And then after gathering speed, the extra resources, that's awesome. And then once those two are depleted, then it's march speed. Because especially in KVK, some of those are super far away. Another thing I do is, here's my little gear, right? Yay for me. There we go. That's what I was looking for, right? But that's what I use, right? That gives me 5% extra resources, and then that's 10% quicker, okay? I don't rock a lot of those, but that's what I got. All right, and then I use the triple line formation, and then you can see here I got swift, brisk, and gallop, like to get there quicker. That's how I try to optimize it, right? Because the other gathering, let's look at it. What is the other one? It is wood, stone, and gold. Don't talk shit about gems, so I don't use it, right? So that's what I use, okay? Go back to my commander here. I always screw this up, so let me close it. And, okay, so the first I use Sundock, and because she gives me that 20% gathering speed, and then at the end of the day, when I'm done, I get 10% extra resources, right? Just like our first dude, Pepin. And then I use Constance, because Constance says, you know what? I work super damn hard, and the game recognizes her ability just to get in there, like those tight spaces, and gives me an extra 10% resources. But other people, they fucking quit, bro. They're quitters. I don't want that game, right? Let's go. All right, the second crew, I use Cleopatra and Joan, right? Again, 20% gathering speed, and here's 25% gathering speed, right? That's 45% gathering speed, right? On the first one, right, with Sundok and Constance, I get 20% gathering speed and an extra 20% of resources. And so, like, could I switch up Constance and Joan? You can, but that's the way I like it. And for me, it was more like I want to make sure that if I send one out, right, like say before I go to bed or I'm going to leave or something, I would get the more resources out of that, right? That extra 3, right? Now, I usually gather at least 4 at a time and then barb chain. So I don't care how I mix them up, but this is how I set mine up. Okay. Tres. The third one, right? I got Sarka and Centurion. And so that is straight just gathering. 18%, I believe he gets 10. Yeah, and that gives me 28% gathering speed. Love it. Matilda, I think she just gives me something at the end. Matilda just works hard, right? Gets there when she gets there, right? Gathers as she gathers. But at the end of the day, she'll give me that extra 10 resources. And this cat, no, I don't need to do that. He walks fast. He's got that giddy up. He just wants to get there. And when he's done with the day, he wants to get back. Steven gives me 20% extra march speed. All right. My fifth one, you can pretty much, I think, use anybody in here because, oh, you know what? I do remember what he gives me. This cat gives me march speed. 15% march speed. And she gives me 20% march speed. So 35% march speed. They get there super quick. They just kind of take forever to gather the node because there's nothing else going on. Now, you're introducing 2 more people with 20% gathering speed, right? I take out Matilda. The Matilda is paired with one of these for that extra 10% resources, right? Probably bumps to spot number 3. And then the other one will give me 20% gathering speed, right? So it really will be quicker. And then I'll have some march speed with some of my siege commanders, right? That's how I giddy up and get around. Here's my 6th one. Just regular old, he's going to go out there and do some stuff. And I have her for march speed, right? I have other people that are quicker, but I don't like to tie them up because sometimes I need to get a march out there, and sometimes they get tied up with my siege commander, so I leave my best ones free. The other thing with this is, I mentioned it earlier, is these commanders, if you don't want to gather a certain type of resource, right? You just want food, and then you want like stone and gold, then that extra 20% helps you just gather those quicker, right? And I know there's others that are specialized, but if that's all you're going to gather, that helps you. In an age where we want more resources quicker in this game, this helps a little bit, but it doesn't change the game, right? Like literally, I don't get any of these, and I'm just fine still, right? Doesn't make or break me, doesn't change anything. How are we going to get these cats? That's the question. So there's 2 ways. Here, right now, if I go to use, it gives me 1 of 3. And it would be super nice if I had 2 more options. One for Pepin, and I'm going to call Casimir still, right? That would be nice. I wouldn't even get everything, but at least on both of them, I'd max out their second skill. And then on Pepin is the only one I really want to max because I want to get that extra 10% resources, right? But you get them to skill 2, and you got what you wanted, right? All right. Let's look at our golden chest rewards. If they add it here, it is just going to be with a flood of other people. This is sickening if they put it here. I remember early on, and I know it wasn't like to deceive, but everybody kept saying, man, hey, Mehmed, you're going to be maxed in a year, maybe 2 years, right? Oh, don't put in... Dude, how long have I been playing this game? If Mehmed is still not maxed, it's like 5 years, 5.5 years, something like that. I think I started this like the day before or right after Christmas. Like, I think we're coming up on 6 years. The dude ain't maxed. If they put these in here, it's worthless almost, right? Or at least until you get them to level 2. But that's disgusting if they do that. Now, there was talk of an event. So here's my question to you. Would you pay to get these commanders? Like if you had to pay. Now, I'm cool with like, I got to do some activities, like some time, but not money. But I'm curious, would you spend to get these commanders? Let me know in the comments. There's my little review. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope for you that gather gems, do it without jacking other people's gem nodes, because I don't like that. People do it. I don't care where you come from. Just do it the right way. In any event, hope you liked it. I tried to outline maybe what others don't talk about, and that's the gathering gems, and that's what, to me, these are good for. All right, guys. Hope you like it. Like and subscribe. Make some little comments. Range rocks.